So when I came out of hospital, I also want to keep these as a, I don't know, like I'm getting it out there in case, something happens. Yeah, when I was released from hospital, yeah, my dad was coming in to see me, and he's come in and said, "Oh no, you're going to come home with me." During this whole time, people need to understand, I knew my son was at risk. Not just at risk, I knew it's really hard for anyone to ever comprehend this, and that's why this is just difficult to even put out there, because it's so unbelievable that anyone is still alive. But this is what happens when you make a big mess and you say no, you know what I mean? Like, in this case. But yeah, when I was released from hospital, I went to stay at my father's, and my son was there with me. My father was extorted. That's what they do. They ask them to pay a certain amount of money to keep your daughter alive and give us this much money. And that's not enough. And then they come back and say, no, we need more than that. So it's a constant thing. And my ex-husband, Jet's father's father, was also extorted to keep him alive. And he often toddled off with an envelope full of money. And yeah, this is what they do. And it doesn't buy you anything. Nothing. These people have no honor at all. While I was there at my father's, I did witness my psychic, Rose, very prominent, powerful psychic in Adelaide, beautiful woman, and actually knew a lot of people, used to do a lot of good work. Beautiful woman, and I saw her probably 5 times maybe, all up. Only psychic I ever saw, never saw another one. She was the best. And it's not something I'd really bother about now because I have that ability myself. But back then, yeah, it was fun, and mostly I went with other people. It's, yeah, like I say, fun. Okay, I'm just going to go through it piece by piece. Something's just stabbed me right in the neck. Okay, I heard the call out. Go pick the girl's psychic up. I want to find out what she knows. And maybe an hour later, maybe 2 hours later, around that, I'm sitting on the back step, out in the night, really quiet. That's how I, kind of picked up a lot of this stuff. So 2 cars take off, speed off. It's probably 1 in the morning, maybe. I'm back inside and I'm laying down, and I hear shuffling coming through the back. See, I'm in a little unit type thing, and there's like a back courtyard bit, and I'm hearing shuffling coming through the courtyard bit, and then I hear a man pull back the tarp. I had a lot of my belongings on a table out the back with a tarp covering it, and because obviously I'd just moved in there, I hear him pull back the tarp and say, "Oh, this is her stuff." I don't know how this works, if you have to touch it or something. And she sort of asked, you know, what it was about. And he said, I just want to know what this girl knows. Yeah, that's a direct quote. I just want to know what this girl knows. And at that moment, you know, I just kind of like, I don't have any explanation for anything I did, all right? Everything was on instincts. So it's kind of weird when I'm relaying like what I did, because I'm looking back thinking, God, did I do that? Or, you know, I just sort of started praying, I guess you would call it, and just saying, like, you know, please don't tell them. I'm just going to be honest, like, this is what I did. I don't know. And sort of started saying, please don't tell them. In my head, you know. And she says, oh, she knows it's something to do with child abuse. And he pushed back the tarp and said, that's all I needed to know. And then they left. So probably an hour, no, I don't even know how long it was. The next event was I'm sitting on the back step, an hour or whatever later, half an hour. And instincts fully kicking in at this point, being able to like use my extra senses. It would have been a house next door or the next house. That's probably the limit of my capabilities at the time. And I'm hearing a big roller door shut, like a garage door. A lot of whimpering. And then I hear a man say, we're going to make this quick for you because you helped us. And there's, you know, a lot of whimpering and stuff. And then never ever can I forget the scream that I heard from this man. I'm assuming was her husband. Never will I forget that. And these people are really, really mental. After this, I think they rub this kind of stuff in your face. And I'm hearing that a little bit with some of the other stuff that I saw in the past when I used to watch stuff. Other people coming forward, you know, with stories and things like that. They really do. They rub it right in your face. So I'm sitting there. It's probably about 2 in the morning now, 2:30. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not going to quote that. And a man, definitely a man, because the footsteps, I will never forget how heavy and ominous and thump, you know, kind of these were. Walks in the back to the main house, which was actually my grandparents' house. It was being rented out at the time. And we were living at the back in 2-unit type situation things. So it was all part of the same property. This was my grandparents' house where we grew up as kids. We've always been that kind of family, and even my grandparents were well known in the area and really community sort of based people. This is just such a disgrace. So I'm hearing the footsteps go in the back and into the bathroom, and the sink turns on. The next day, things being put in eskies. Eskies being slid around at the back of the main house. More than one, probably more than one, because there was lots of shuffling. Otherwise, they were doing a complete 180 with one esky. Then Dad asked me to move some plants around, and as I'm doing that, there is blood all over one of the palms. Can't even believe I'm repeating this. I really can't believe it, but that's exactly what it was. And that's what I mean by rubbing this stuff right in your face. And I've been curious as to why that is, and it's obviously fear to keep you silent. The more that they can be shoving it at you. And then this part I'm not 100% on, because I was just walking through the back courtyard bit, either the next day or a couple of days later it would have been, and my father's sitting there watching the news, and I wasn't even paying any attention. I walked right through with something in my hand, doing something, so I'm focused on something else, and yet my unconscious picked up what the news was saying. And I'm pretty sure I heard prominent Adelaide psychic dies in car crash and had her neck, something about her neck was broken or on impact. And I thought that was really suspicious and weird that anyone would ever say that. Anyway, so that I'm not 100% owned to. This could be, I don't even know, but my unconscious picked that up, and it's something that came back later, and I'm like, wow, people have lost their lives, and all the while, these people have been playing games, actual games, with this. We're of no consequence. And that's a direct quote. I've heard these people say this on my channel or through my psychic abilities. I have literally heard them say that. I don't know how many times I've heard them say, this kid's of no consequence to us. This woman's of no consequence to us. Another thing that was really strange, I'm just going to mention it all because it might trigger something, I don't know. Diggers, as in big cat diggers, all over these neighbourhoods during this period where I was being hunted, really strangely. Just diggers pulling up everywhere in the neighbourhoods, doing digging holes, hole diggers kind of thing. So, Ingle Farm was one of the places where obviously the home invasion was, and that's where it all began. And I do fear for a lot of the residents around that house, because that's what they do. They come in and get rid of the residents and, yeah, occupy the surrounding houses of their target. And this would have been one of them situations where nobody ever knew anything, except for I've kind of got to the point now where I'm like, this is happening now. This is happening. And I'm going to do this no matter what for the next one, you know. I also in Northfield, that's particularly where I know there is trafficking happening, children being trafficked. And I know there was a male and a female, possibly Paul and Sarah, that were hunkered down in this 2-story house with the Italians in Brown Street. And after extensive like backtracking, remote viewing on this, I'm pretty sure that they were living in this person's pool house, which is kind of like just a room at the back near their pool. All sorts of sick, disgusting stuff that I used to hear, animal torture, and all the while thinking that, you know, there's no way in hell these people are going to be so brash. Like, there's no way in hell knowing that, you know, they're being observed. No, there's no way. So your mind will kind of brush things aside, you know, like, oh, that can't possibly be happening. And you just kind of like catalogue it and move forward until pieces come forward later on and it makes sense. And it's like, yeah, okay, now it fits. And that was real, or it wasn't. So it's definitely discernment. You need to be extremely discerning, especially when you're being manipulated. Because if they can make me seem crazy, then this is never going to come to light. And it probably won't anyway. But either way, my son's going to know that I did this for him. And I did this for the other children that couldn't speak, and the other parents that couldn't speak as well.